morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your time zone. We have resumed, of course, duties this morning. Wishing you the best of the week as God grants us the noble grace, of course, to see the light of the day. Yes, today reporting here in today's political rumbles, the Chigozie Ndibo, welcoming you to the most exciting week and, of course, discussion this morning. I have with me one of the most reputable analysts here with me, in the person of comrades Daniel Michael. It's a pleasure meeting you, sir.
Thank you. Good morning.
Yeah, how was the week?
Very well, thank you.
Yes, the bishop, Catholic bishop, has, of course, expressed his own fears or reservations that Nigeria is still at the edge of collapse. And there are fears and apprehensions concerning the future and the existence or continuity of the Nigerian state following the latest developments of events and poverty ravaging the country and insecurity threatens the existence of this country and coupled with the recent declaration or judgment from the tribunal. So what is your take?
Thank you. I think every well-meaning Nigerian should be concerned at the moment. There is a new government, but at the same time, some of the policies that we have seen so far have been very harsh on Nigerians. And as you have rightly said as well, the insecurity is also a challenge. At this time, we still have banditry activity going on in the north, and part of the North Central as well. So the bishops are in line. They should be concerned. They are Nigerians. They are stakeholders in the country, and their opinion is genuine and relevant at this time.
But some say that they are clergymen and should not dabble into political or economic affairs that may trigger some, of course, oblivious. What is your position?
For me, the content of that statement, you have not really read it, but from what you said, I think they expressed their view concerning the general situation of the country, which I think any rational mind should also be worried, especially with the judgments that we see so far. I think that headline caption that they should not, the law should not be banned. Don't bend the law or something like that. From what I glanced through, which is a concern, a genuine concern, because when it comes to interpretation of the law, it is about what the judge feels the interpretation is, and not what may be known to us as Nigerians. So I think the concerns are genuine, and we have every right to so do.
So the population of this country, the masses are at the mercy of whatever the judges feel at that particular time. It is not having a recourse to the provisions of the law, which is not ambiguous, which is clearly stated and without any ambiguity. So should we continue to rely on the feelings? If they're happy, they may interpret it otherwise. If perhaps they are under some stimulants, of course, they may also interpret it because of the feelings. So should Nigerians be at the mercy of the judiciary or legal jurisprudence?
I think I would disagree with you when you said they don't interpret according to the constitution. The constitution is not as clear as you put it. Don't forget, students of jurisprudence will tell us that there is a letter and the spirit of the law. And most of the time we are familiar with the letters and not with the spirit.
Okay, not with the spirit.
Not with the spirit. So it is when it gets to the level of the judges that we begin to hear certain things, which for me, I believe they are the spirit that they are talking about. Those are the spirit that we begin to see the letters in another light. And if you ask me, it is not good for our democracy. What I mean is that determining leaders from the courts is not healthy for us. I personally believe that it ought to have been done from the ballots. If the election had been free, fair, and credible, and also transparent enough to see, I think there wouldn't have been any reason approaching the court for all the litigations that we've had so far. So the danger, and that's the danger now, having it to be determined by the courts, when you are subjected to legal jargon, it's subjected to judicial interpretations and all of that. So that's where we are. But the ideal thing is for us to have determined it from the ballots.
Another personality instructs or advise the judiciary not to bend the law. Does that mean that they are aware or there are some possibilities of course, going to the contrary or speculations of people are skeptic whatever might happen possibly that may result to the hope of the entire masses being dashed even at the Supreme Court?
I think those who are saying the law should not be done, just as I said the other time, it is about judicial interpretation. So if which you, and I think you have genuine fears when they make such expression. When the judiciary interprets it in a particular manner, you begin to think that this thing is bending. This thing is no longer straight. In the case of this person, this was how it was handled, and now it's been handled this way. So that is what you get when the matter is in courts. It doesn't go the same way. It doesn't go have the same interpretation and all of that. And because we are not learned, as they used to say, we are not lawyers. We are their mercy in terms of the decisions of the courts,
But
which for me is quite unfortunate.
really unfortunate. I thought Nigerians would have learned lesson from the 2016 in Kenya when the Chief Justice said that he is called to bar to defend the Constitution. He is a custodian to the Constitution and to uphold the law of the land and not to bend the rule to in favor of anybody, regardless of whose horse is God. That he is there to defend the integrity of the state and the constitution which he represents being within the constituency. Why is it different from the Nigerian legal correspondence?
I wouldn't say they don't work with the constitution even here. What I feel is that we have a lot of vacuum in our constitution. Certain things are too maybe nebulous. Some certain things are not too clear enough for people to easily dissect. So when some of these technicalities come in, too much of technicalities in our laws, I think I should put it that way. Just as you said in the Kenya case, law should be to a large extent be clear enough that virtually every citizen can relate with it, can understand that okay, this is 25% we are talking about. This is what it actually means, and you know, you begin to know that, and it's not just and AMD is not just AMD.
No, it is. But the judge or the presiding elect judge do not interpret that arm. He defined other, of course, words, but do not define the word arm. Maybe he understood that he might be caught up with the realities if he defined the word arm.
No, there is nothing to define in hand. I mean, if you ask me, even though I'm not a lawyer, but the fact remains that and simply means including Abuja in the case of the last election, which makes it, and if you want to interpret it further, it makes it a 37 states, and that is what they claim it is, and which we have to accept that it is.
So we have to accept that there is an unknown state. It's not captured within the constitution, within the acts which establish the states. How can you accept that?
You know, if you follow the judgment, even in another place that is cited, that Abuja should not be given a special status, that the Abuja doesn't have a special status, that should be treated as a state. So, I mean, back and forth. But I don't. I'm not a lawyer, but I think I've seen. Somebody showed me that very recently that it's one of the things they used in interpreting that particular 25%. But by and large, what we are still saying is that our laws are not clear enough, or are not too clear enough for us to understand, which I think is not too good for us as Nigerians.
Thank you very much. On the final note, so many firms, big firms, have lost 625 billion naira as a result of inflation, and they, of course, threaten to wind up, or possibly could that mean another dimension of calamity for Nigerian masses?
I don't pray for any calamity. It is unfortunate that we are some of the companies are still experiencing losses as a result of probably our exchange rate and all of that. The cost of doing business is going up at the moment, which I think is not good for business. And I think that's the fear they are expressing. Don't forget, we have some companies wind down operations, and a lot of people, what that means, a lot of people are out of jobs.
But the government said that they have reduced the unemployment rate to 4%. Where did that happen? Is it in by projection, or they are speculating about a future that is not yet a reality?
I think that statistics that came from the National Bureau of Statistics now. It's unfortunate. You can't be talking about 4.8 or 4.7, they call it, percent of unemployment. That is wrong.
1 million even joined the unemployed.
It doesn't matter how they come about it. Every sane person knows that figure can't be correct. And the reality is that a lot of people are losing their jobs as a result of companies not doing well at the moment.
Yes, Tinubu met with Joe Biden. What economic advantage does that add to Nigerian sub-populace? Does that make any difference?
Well, I don't have the details of their meeting. I think probably that is the first step. Perhaps other bilateral agreements and signings could still be in the offing, which are not privy to at the moment. But at least meeting him shows that United States probably recognize the president, that the United States continue that they've always had with our country. So for me, until it materializes into tangible things for us, I think it's just there for us to watch and see.
To what I see.
Yes.
I hope it will end up, of course, in a more
And
returns.
I hope so too. I hope so too.
So, what are your fears regarding the coming Supreme Court and the fate of Nigerians?
I have no fears. The Supreme Court should do their job diligently. If they feel the appeal court have done the right thing, they know what to do. And if they feel otherwise, I believe they know what to do. But just as you said, their loyalty is to the nation. It's to our nation, Nigeria. Their loyalty will never be to an individual. The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is what they are bound with, and that is what that judgment should be about.
Thank you so much, Comrade, for your wonderful submission this morning.
Thank you.
We do appreciate your time.
Thank you.
God bless you. Yes, of course, we continue to hear the opinions of the Nigerian masses as they roll out what is their mind and reservations, of course, bordering on social political events here in Nigeria. Awesome fans watching, good morning. We are live. Please kindly join us because we are reporting live. The unbiased reportage of events has been our commitment. Yes, I welcome the most esteemed comrade. Comrade, you are most welcome to this political rumbles. I want before he comes, I will want to, we are live and direct, and we want to bring your attention to the realities on ground, bordering on the existence of humanity here in Nigeria. There have been apprehensions, there have been fears of course, the skepticism about the existence and continuity of the Nigerian state. What is your take on this? Let's know what is your take and what you think. You are most welcome. Just join the camera while we discuss. Good morning.
Good morning, viewers.
You are most welcome.
Good morning.
Yes, don't bend the rule is the position of an archbishop, advisably, of course, telling the Supreme Court not to bend the rule of the law. What is your take on that? Of course, that's what people have been playing. That the judgment, which is not justice, will not actually go down well with the people. People expected justice in that aspect. But what they gave out was actually judgment, and the parties that they have already moved on to Supreme Court. A lot of Nigerians were disappointed by that judgment so far. But let me tell you, it's like the judiciary is not ready for credible election in Nigeria. Because if they are ready for credible election, they wouldn't have come out with such judgment that encourages rigging. It's a clear thing. How can we talk about somebody that has acknowledged his drug, his house on drugs for future? He has a Chicago certificate issue, and he said you are knocking it out based on technicalities. I don't know how. That's why I keep on asking: are these guys really learned? They say they are learned, but not really learned, or they have compromised. Of course, Nigerians know they have compromised, and the bishops, of course, if they are the only voice that will come up to say it the way it is, other Nigerians, I don't know what is they're still doing to come out publicly, fully, to condemn what you have seen to be, judgment against the will of the people. So we are still looking. Nigerians are demanding, like the youth of this country, that Yakub Mahmoud deceived. They know that Nigerians were deceived in this 2023 February, 25th February election, given the massive turnout of Nigerian youth trying to ballot their way to good governance. We didn't see that. All the whole electors were disappointed, and they are beginning to see that, it's no longer going to be all eyes on judiciary now. It is all eyes on Supreme God. It's a very clear thing. You understand? So the bishops are in order. The advocacy for the judiciary to really come out and do the needful. There are signs of, look at the way look at what Aisha have been talking about the judgment. Look at what the woman spoke concerning the judgment. Look at the revelations that have been coming from different quarters. Even report was not even considered as an evidence or as an bit. Nothing. We just went ahead to determine such judgment based on technicalities. I've not seen when this thing has happened. You understand? And people are looking at the way Nigeria is going. Nigeria is gradually losing her institution on daily basis to corruption, to compromise, to money, to malpractices. All the whole institutions are dying. The judiciary is almost dead. The executives are dead. The legislators are going down on daily basis. All the democratic institutions, are being weakened on every day. But how somebody allowed the fears of Nigerians going into, of course, extinction, the democratic state called Nigeria might cease from existence. Of course, when there is absolute injustice in the court, you know what I mean by the people's will. You just like you are the father of this child, and someone is coming to tell you that you are not the father of this child, I went to a hospital for DIA, and the DIA proved that you are the father of this child, and somebody came up that based on technicalities and you're not able to provide for the child, is no longer your child. That is exactly what happened at the tribunal. It's a disgrace. They can't tell me that the evidences are not there. Even with the plethora of evidence that were submitted, they didn't have, of course, how to said this kind of matter is based on technicalities. It's unfortunate that the law has been lost. The rule of law has been compromised by certain people who are supposed to be custodians of the law, who are supposed to be lawgivers, has turned to giver of law. Now, what is the way forward? Some top companies have lost 625 or more billion naira. So, inflation, of course, threatens the existence of most companies in Nigeria. Even when the government is saying they have reduced the unemployment rate to 4.8%, is that an irony? So to say. You see, that's what I'm telling you. The system keep on collapsing, the system keep on going down, and it breeds deterioration. Things are deteriorating on a daily basis because the institution that's supposed to, the components of democracy as institutions, as the way they should be run, they are not being run that way. So some of those things that are supposed to, keep the system, the economy flowing. Some of those things that are supposed to make Nigeria advance. Some of those things that are supposed to cushion the harsh economic policies, over the years that has bastardized so many homes. As I'm talking to you today, has not been properly, brought to total, political sanity. That is why we keep on seeing those things. Companies are people are losing out every day. The naira keep on somersaulting against the dollar. Things and the economy keep on deteriorating. Companies can no longer maintain their overheads. They don't have any option but to go to their intention protected. Can you say Nigeria is at the state of insolvency, a country that spends 90% of its revenue, annual revenue, in servicing of debt, and most companies are winding up, and yet most politicians or political leaders are not living in the realities of our time. They're telling us, of course, the contrary, fake hopes and fake realities. Being expressed by this group of leaders, if I may say. So, what should Nigeria do at this particular time we are in? They always say, that there's going to be, I think it has gotten, the people have been pushed to the wall. And if they don't have any other thing, to lay their hand on, they are going to turn back and start defending themselves. You understand? Or people are still looking at the judiciary to rescue the dead conscience of so many Nigerians in terms of balloting, in terms of going to the poll, in terms of election, in terms of democracy. According to the history, the 2025 this year's election, Nigerians came out, with better hope. Maybe this is going to be a kind of, a change. But it didn't happen. We discovered at the end of the day, with all the things that Yakub Mahmoud did were just purely cosmetic. They were not written. And that's going to lead into so many people calling for a thorough scrutiny of the electoral act, and pushing for electoral reform in that regard. So Nigerian youths are getting it very uncomfortable at this moment, and the weight of the bad leadership is getting down on everyone, and it may lead to ballot revolution you just know distance time. And of course, that will not go well for everybody, because when we talk about ballot revolution, it is in two ways. Either the people decide that the election is not going to win, or there is going to be massive apathy, or they make sure that election is not held at all in this part of the country, because people talking about manual voting. Even though Yakubu told us that we are going to everything is going to be done electronically, but it didn't happen. That means that election, that 2025 election, is a clear manipulation, is a clear shift, from what Nigerians, especially the youth, expected. In short, what they don't know what they did there was just a manual thing. There's no evidence that it was electronically done. So Nigeria should start mobilizing against ballot, for ballot revolution, if not civic revolution, because we can't continue like this. That is my take on Nigeria. Because these guys, look at, if Nigeria could not stand up, by now, you can see that DSF would have been killing, SARS would have been killing a lot of people on the streets. I'm telling you, you are correct. You are correct. So because they stood up and they stopped it, and this time around, and I believe that elements of the revolutionaries in this country should begin to, look at things that are getting out of hand completely. And we cannot watch if these governments seem to lose direction. They don't have a proper economic or policy plan on how to, rejig or drive this economy. It's a very clear thing. You understand? It's not a matter of moving from one place to another. It has not added value. We see how Buhari overthrows everywhere, all over the world. At the end of the day, we just nothing at home. People are started again, moving from one place to another, negotiating deals that is going to benefit him and his family. Without coming home to look at how this things that he brought to Nigerians can be, of course, a lot of us are not seeing much that is going to come from him anyway. But what I'm telling Nigerians is that everybody should start preparing for ballot revolution or civic revolution to make sure that things does not, get out of hand. But with that, can we trust a government or the politicians who has benefited from the failed system to push for reforms that may force them out of power? Do you think that is possible? The people who have benefited from this fraud system, can they push for such reforms, being that they are in control of the judiciary and the home of affairs? Then what is the way forward? Most of these guys you say at the National Assembly are this federal house, and all the sub-units of the government, like the states and all that. Some of those guys, if you come closer to them, you will still find out that there are some of them that want a better Nigeria. There are some of them that want reforms. There are some of them that want innovations. There are some of them that does not believe that Nigerians deserve what they are getting now. It's a very clear thing. Go on the street. Some of them, but because capacity have not been built, it looks as if that I don't have somebody who is like me at the National Assembly. I don't have a senator at the State House, the State Assembly that listen like me, that want a better Nigeria. If not, why is everybody talking about the president in waiting, Peter Obi? Why is everybody looking at that? Nobody is even talking about Atiku. Why is it everybody? Because Nigerians are looking at that direction, that this is exactly what we want. So there are elements, the revolutionary elements everywhere, even in the Senate, even in the local house, state assembly, even in the local government, even among ethnic warlords. There are people which feel that Nigerians, this is not what Nigeria should be at this moment. So the thing is that if there's a synergy, if these forces can come together, why can't we drive a better change? Why can't we drive make sure that we put a stop to people who has been dealing decisively with Nigerians in form of leadership. Honestly, and why? What are they waiting for? Of course, to take the lead, because people's hope has dashed, and people has lost confidence in the Nigerian project. If I may tell you, just sample opinions of people in the east, even in the north, and most people in the west have lost confidence in the existence of Nigeria because it has not, of course, paid off being in Nigeria. Unfortunately, we are where we are. Now, would that be another leap for those calling for this disintegration of the Nigerian state? If the Nigerian state is failing to live up to its responsibilities as a brothers of the citizenry, will you justify for those calling for their own self-independence in order to chart a way forward and redefine their existence as a people and not be treated as animals in their own country? If somebody like the former president of Nigeria, civilian president, Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, was able to make it very clearly to everyone that Nigeria is not a nation. These are the sentiments, so to say, that people like us have shared over the years. When they fail to break components together and do a proper people's constitution, not this type of Mafasi constitution, all those things. We don't need them. Nigerians have not sat down and said these are the rules and regulation of how we want to be governed. Till date, that people drafted constitution, and the person of the people's will. Nigeria has already expired. We know when Nigeria expired, and Jonathan wanted to do something in that regard. The same people that were saying that Nigeria unity, you don't allow him. Nigeria is a scam. It's a fake project. That's not how you look at it. It's a very clear thing. I wanted to point out because the body language of Jonathan then was not strong, because possibly he was looking for a return in office. So he was not so firm, of course, in deciding that particular issue, in addressing it, because Nigeria expired 2013 when he was in office. But he refused to act proactively to really consider the existence of the Nigerian state. So we wouldn't just blame Jonathan for such a selfishness. I wouldn't say that Jonathan lost it, but the forces that doesn't want Nigeria to be reformed, to be restructured, to be redirected, is what has kept us. In Nigeria, system is subsided, and until we begin to correct such lopsidedness, we will not be able to get it right. We are not trying to make sure that this is balanced. You understand? But you get it right the way it's supposed to be. It didn't happen. I'm not going to blame Jonathan. It was an idea that a lot of people came to embrace, but a lot of people kicked against it. But if Jonathan was the kind of person who want to be British, you understand? That is what his nature. He wants people to see him. He wants people to understand him. He wants people to see that this is where the direction we are going. He wants to carry everybody along. And he brought that project. You understand? And it was a better time for Nigeria to revisit all the grievances of the past that have led to serious agitation for disintegration. Yes, and that I call is have not ended, because it's by law Nigeria expired 2013. So we have been through a window or a period of still living in the shadows of the reality. So the Nigerian need to reconvene to reconsider the continued existence of this country. Otherwise, this crisis might not end anytime soon. That's what I see. Maybe another style and pattern might be adopted. Since some people have started calling for another sovereign conference again to review. There are the one that they did. They are still there. It handled a lot of issues in that regard. You understand? So if people are beginning to call for national conference, but what of the one that was done properly done by Jonathan? They should look at those reports, revisit it and see what the ones they can activate, and let Nigerians sit down and say we want to be restructured. We want to let you see when we talk about restructure, you need to know the type of restructuring. For me, I want regional restructuring the states where we have the entire eastern region, not the south south. That is east region. East is a region. Then inside that east region, for eastern region, we have all the states that make up the entire eastern region. In southwest, we have the southwest region. We have all the states that make up. You understand? That's the kind of structure I want. I don't know to want removal of states and let it be only region. You understand? So those are the kind of things people will start looking at and see. When we talk about restructuring is going to bring about good governance down to the grassroots. That's the essence of what we're talking about restructuring. So these guys will not be having access to little Nigerian wealth at ease. At ease. Look at the deputy CBN governor. Look at the kind of money, over 400 million US dollars gone down the drain. We have seen workers with so much money, and at the end of the day, they go for trade again because it is a cabal thing. All of them are running the same game. All of them are in the same system. And let me tell you, the Nigerian media are not helping matters. I want to see a situation where Nigerian media is properly independent. Not having one leg with one politician in Abuja or having two legs with one governor that are not determining who and who, what you are going to say and what you are not going to say. That is why the media will sit down and watch this kind of judgment. 21st century, this kind of judgment. On the 6th of September this month, and nobody is talking about it. Honestly, it's unfortunate. Nigerian media is becoming a problem. You understand? Because by the time they stop praising these people, you understand? If you have, maybe they will still have anything. You understand what I'm saying? So if this trend continue, my brother, there's nothing wrong with people coming out to say, of course, there should be disintegration because of everything you do in Nigeria. People bring tribalistic sentiment to it, even if you want to be sincere. Yorubas have watched Nigeria before. Obasanjo was president. Osubanjo was president 8 years. And there's a region that have been left out for over 60 years. A major force in that matter. Pretend as if there's nothing wrong, as if they are not seeing it. The clear see the issue about Biafra has affected every Nigerian. Biafra was a child of circumstance and has gone far define a particular race on this earth. So if Nigerians are not getting it right, and they're not getting it right, so why would they get it right? That's what I'm saying. That since it has continued to deteriorate, and that's why you've seen armed groups all over Nigeria. Are you not seeing it? Armed groups everywhere in Nigeria. Was it like this before? Now are people taking up arms? You see justice unaddressed injustice. People are carrying arms every day. Go to different regions, see arms group. They're showing that. Let me not tell you. Tell you that the system is dead. Leadership is dead. When there is no justice, there is no peace. The judiciary has contributed another one too. There's going to be a ballot revolution. But the revolution, well, please, roll it out of your mind. We have revolutionaries in this country. When the time comes, they will surface. Okay, when the time comes, they will surface. Well, they can't keep, of course, crucial issues on touch until disaster looms. Unfortunately, this disaster has caught up with Ghana Sunday, and possibly everyone, of course, is bearing the brunt of these realities. Your final take to Nigerians? Well, like I always said, there's still a window. Nigerians, especially the youth, will labored massively in this 2023 presidential election. Kudos to Nigerian youth. On our tribe, only those who do not there is you people wanted a change, and that change will surely one day come. Thank you so much, Essen comrade. That change will surely desire, will surely come, but nobody knows the form and the nature of that change or revolution. But one thing is certain, is inevitable in the history of humanity. There comes a time when humans, of course, will definitely move and push for such revolutions in every generation. And this is the time we are in. Some fans are watching us live here and they want to, of course, to hear your comments and reactions via the comment section. And we so much appreciate your time. Okay, we have Mr. Charles is here to give us his own submission. Just on a GP before we call it a day. Mr. Charles, it's a pleasure having you. We do appreciate you. Good morning, Mr. Charles. Good morning, Mr. Chigazendibo. Chigazendibo. You've just forgotten my name. Is it part of the Nigerian problem? I never can tell. You know, when you go home to bed with empty stomach, you might not have the sufficient supply of nutrients to the brain to function effectively. But is that the case with you? Good morning. Nigerians. My God is that you are not far from the truth. When you see with an empty stomach, sometimes even somebody that is very, very much close to you, you even forgot to know that someone is just very, very attached to you. At the end of the day, you see a maker, you call the maker busy. So because of the hunger in the land. Don't bend the rule. Don't bend the rule. Don't bend the rule is the latest, of course, advice to the judiciary or the Supreme Court, so to say. Well, whoever that gave them that advice that they shouldn't bend the rule, they are not far from the truth, because that is just the exact thing that we should be expecting, because most of the things we are seeing in Nigeria, Nigerian rules have been bent roughly. Bending it doesn't mean that in such a, you are bending it, but there are so many ways in which we might have bent the Nigerian rules. For instance, you see truth at the end of the day, you find out that you see black, you say black is white. Yes, we know that it is not at the ambit of the law to start lying to people, because it is only the final and the most important place where a common man decides to go for justice. But we have seen a situation where most of these people have decided to bend the Nigerian rules in such a way that we do not even, their actions are no more in consonance with what we expected from them. bending rules, you don't longer go to court for justice. Justice, you can only see justice in the court. But now, what are we seeing? We are seeing a situation where you can only find judgment in the court, but there's no justice anymore. Only judgment, that's the only thing you can find in the court. So you believe that bending the rule of the Supreme Court might of course, predicate the disintegration of Nigerian state. We don't have the last opportunity Nigeria have to survive. You don't have to bend the movement. The constitution is there already. All the need is to touch down one or two places in the Nigerian constitution and find out whether most of those places that the constitution says different this thing was not in order. You cannot bend laws when you know that this particular rules was actually in ordinance with what the likes and the demands of Nigerians. So bending the rules is not even acceptable because even if you decide to bend the rules, what are you bending the rules for? You are bending the rules in order to have a cycle in such a way that is going to favor some few Nigerians. So, but what we are expecting from most of this judiciary, why not do things in such a way that posterity will need to remember you for good? But you are bending rules. Why are you bending rules? You have told us that a lot of enactments, a lot of criminal and penal code is there to refer to as a legal practitioner. But in a situation where that is why you only have in law, you only have what you call you refer people to a particular case with case, but at the end of the day, we are seeing a situation whereby a rule in Nigeria, because of is no more flexible enough. Are you getting me? The flexibility was no more in ordinance with whatever the expectation of Nigerians. But you look at it in such a way that now you are trying to bend Nigerian rules. What are you trying to bend? We are seeing a situation whereby a lot of injustices have been meted to Nigerian individuals. You look at a common man like you and I, the only place we feel that maybe we can go for is nothing but you go to a prayer Supreme Court in order to have a perfect judgment. But we are seeing a situation whereby most of these things cannot be gotten in such a way that because a lot of them, a lot of players have been sending to a different account. So I am not even expecting any good thing to come. And even the Supreme Court we are talking about, and not the political parties have decided to take their grievances to the higher court of the land, being the Supreme Court. No, I'm not even expecting them to win there because even the same line of people that are going to meet in the presidential tribunal court are the same line of individuals who also meet there. So we should not be expecting anything justice to take place over there because a lot of these have been banned in Nigeria. So for some political class, well, Nigerians are suffering, yet it's a place we have not seen at the end of this calamity. But small companies are using of course, their business to the tune of 625 billion naira. I mean, would that mean another unforeseen calamity or disaster regarding the Nigerian economy? Yes, it's quite alarming because when there's almost instability in a particular country, you don't expect foreign investors to flow into the country. Let me give you an example. Tinubu decided to travel few days before a tribunal, that was also meant to be part of the tribunal. They decided to leave the source of the country. It is somehow alarming that you went to India. Now, according to them, you went to in Joe Biden now, just for business purposes. Now, you ask yourself this question: if you might have decided to have traveled to a place like India, a place like America, to meet people like Joe Biden, what are you trying to preach to the world? Now, let me give you an example. If only you can set your country very well, the security system is working, everything is working. There's no need you traveling abroad to go in and bring investment into your country. They are the ones that will tell themselves, yes, I think every importance that needed to be put in place in terms of investing in a particular country is there in Nigeria. So let's go and invest in Nigeria. You don't need to beg anybody to come in and invest. So we do not expect most of this company to live in a place where insecurity have taken the orders of the day. Insecurity is now like a food, like a water that Nigeria takes every day. You don't expect them to bring out their billions upon millions of naira and start making it just like that to people who do not know how they have suffered to make that money. That's all. So much, Mr. Charles, your final take on this. So my final take on it is that the Nigerian judiciary should do the needful. If you know that this is a rightful honor, if this is a rightful person that won the presidential election, give it to him. Heaven will not fail. Heaven will not fail. And then remember, anything you do today, every day we keep on hearing about the former president, what's his name? Yaradua. Why are we remembering Yaradua even to today? Yaradua could not even spend up to 1 year at the office, at the office of office in Nigeria. But today, we are remembering Yaradua even to today in his grave because of the good things he has done to Nigeria. So this time we should do the needful. Do the needful so that posterity will need to remember you. People like us, we need to train our children that once upon a time, there was a time when the presidential election was smart out and the army decided to give the mandate of presidential election to another person that did not win the election. But the general judiciary worked endlessly to see that the mandate was given back to the rightful owner. Posterity will just need to remember if they are going to do that. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Mr. Charles, for your time and submission. Yes, I was in the function yesterday, a mini ceremony, as the MC was saying that if you want to know how bad the Buhari administration is, how many mothers or parents have given their children after the name of Buhari? But during Jonathan time, you see people giving their children good luck, Jonathan and all that. And now we're in the dispensation of Tinubu, Bola Ahmed. How many parents will boldly want to give or name their children after Tinubu Ahmed Bola, the current president of Nigeria? And that tells us, of course, the impact they have made on the masses. Now, you don't need to travel to meet Joe Biden in order to move the economy of the Nigerian state. Nigerians are resilient, they are hardworking, they only need the enabling environment to create wealth for themselves. And of course, a sport other, of course, part of the world. Nigerians have been doing exceptionally well across the nations of the earth. They need the enabling environment, create constant power supply, not that be security. And I tell you, Nigerians will create wealth, will engineer their own prosperity. So if it's not was telling the whole world, meeting presidents, and then just wasting common wealth or resources on travel allowances and bonuses that does not amount to anything. Within Nigerians, we have the normal potentials within Africa to develop ourselves without having a recourse to the Western world. In fact, the Western world should come and learn from us. But if unfortunately we have a bad leadership that have brought, of course, the country or the African continent into abysmal decline. And this phenomenon must be corrected in our time. If we must touch the way forward, if we must catch up, of course, with the pace of other community nations that have not far behind. And that is unfortunate. But for us to navigate out of this quagmire, we must define or redefine our existence as a people. Whether it is better for us, of course, to disintegrate by way of moving forward, by remaining as one entity, stuck in the wheel of motionless and despair. After the Nigerians expected what expectancy is less than 35, if I may say. Now, when they start out that Nigerians are suffering, Nigerians are passing through as violating and obvious circumstances, which is coming, unfortunately, on the psychological, emotional, and physiological well-being. Nobody would desire to be in Nigeria under these current circumstances. We're just the mercy of the God Almighty. And whatever happens to anyone, nobody cares, except for God, who will come to our rescue. Nigeria on the verge of collapse. It's no longer a news because our across the length and breadth of this country. There is chaos, there is insecurity, there is of course, instability, and unfortunately, there are economic insecurity, which is ravaging the entire country. I most welcome when I exchange funds, some your comments, and of course, keep on running the comments, and to continue to bring your way on biased appetite of event. This is my reflections of the purpose of opinions and will. Coming your way, there are Congress TV, the unbiased appetite of events is always here. Keeping it real is our passion and our dedication to the service of humanity. Remain blessed until come your way a subsequent edition. I remind the host Uncle Chigozie Ndebe, wishing you the best of lucks in this new week.